Hello, it's the 26th of June 2016 and it's Dan here from Essex United Kingdom. So what I propose to do today is to give you a little instructional video with regards to growing bitter melons here in the UK. So you can see what these are as a climbing vine. Now traditionally these are grown in warmer parts of the world, Southeast Asia, the warmer parts of the US, warmer parts of Europe, Africa, India, etc, etc. And when the fruit matures, it looks like a large knobbly cucumber. It can be used in stir fries and dishes like this. And there is a belief that it can be good for the treatment of diabetes. Now there are sort of issues regarding eating this vegetable, so what I suggest you do is before you go and eat anything like this, you do your research first. Now you can purchase these from sort of an Asian market or like an Asian shop, somewhere like that, and it definitely is an acquired taste. But nonetheless, if you fancy growing something a little bit different and you can somehow get some seeds, give it a go. And they have a nice sort of smell, a nice earthy smell to the vine, which will then sort of make your polytunnel smell somewhat exotic, and those people who have been to sort of tropical parts of the world will know what I'm talking about. So they shoot up the vine they shoot up the cane or whatever, the support, relatively quick once the roots are established. And these like a temperature of around 25 degrees plus. You don't want to be going much sort of below that if you can help it, and it probably is about that here in the polytunnel today. It's very humid at the moment, and of course in the polytunnel it's even more humid and warmer than that, so we're doing quite well with regards to the temperature. When you water them, they like tepid water, not scalding hot obviously or cold, tepid water, because the roots need to be kept relatively warm as well. So you can see that with regards to growing things like this, a lot of people think, oh well, we'll keep the plant warm. Yes, this is true, but you need to be thinking of the roots as well. So as you can see, I'll just see if I can get to the bottom here. You can see this is growing out of a hole which I made, there we go, in some of these black plastic bags. Of course black attracts heat, and of course black plastic bags tend to be cheap or even free, so they can be a good thing to use. And these are very warm. Now when the sun, which is over there at the moment, comes in, it does heat up this polytunnel significantly, and especially around the roots around here. Sometimes it does get up to around 50 degrees around these bits, because I put the thermometer here and I can feel it. So, sorry, I can see it on the screen. It says what the temperature is. Ants there. So yes, keep the roots warm. And when I set these, I set them initially in the house. I believe it was sort of around early April time, mid-April, and I set these out in May. If you check out one of my videos, it was entitled How to Grow Melons in a Cold Climate. Check this out and you will see how I did this, because of course we were still getting frosts at that time and I needed to protect them further. It was unlikely that that time we were going to get a sort of strong frost which would penetrate into this polytunnel, but I wasn't going to take the risk. So this is an early sort of fruit stroke vegetable, whatever you want to call it, and of course it will get a lot bigger than that. They can get about over a foot long in their sort of correct climate, if you will, correct place to grow them. And they are hungry plants indeed. So what I've got them growing in is in a no-dig bed, as my regular viewers know. I grow all my things generally tend to be in a no-dig bed, because research suggests that it's better for soil sort of solidarity, soil protection, and you will stop damage to the soil and the microorganisms, etc. in them, which help to promote lush and green growth. As you can see, they are doing incredibly well. So we've got horse manure in there, we've got coffee ground, good quality organic compost, and some cardboard as well, which you could see, which further helps to make the soil, give the soil more body and hold more water. So you want to be thinking about what you're growing in. And as you can see, my watermelons here, all of my things are all no-dig beds, and you can see they are all doing incredibly well. one thing is, with regards to no dig beds, if you remember years ago when you used to see the farmers ploughing their fields, you used to see a lot of birds behind eating all the worms, didn't you? Well, now look at when you see the farmers plough the fields, you will tend to see that there's not so many birds behind, because there's not so many worms there for them to eat. And worm sort of population is a good indication of soil health, because the worms will help to break down the soil. I can more or less guarantee that if you dig down here, you will find lots of worms, which is the sort of thing we want to be aiming for. So they grow up the vine, they put out these little sort of feelers, if you will, and they grow up like this, and you can see there's a lot of struts, if we want to call them that, coming off of the main vine. I may take these off later on, or I may leave them, I don't know, but they tend to get their feet in and grow incredibly quick indeed. So I believe I've said everything I need to say. Nutritious soil, tepid water, get them out as early as possible, but ensure not too early because of frost. If you do get them out the sort of around April, May time, ensure that you protect them from frost, because you don't want to lose your crop. Check out my video entitled How to Grow Melons in a Cold Climate. If you're interested, that will show you my sort of how I grew them. I did try to grow some of these outside last year, and I remember they didn't do very well at all. They literally just sat there all summer, didn't grow much at all, and then proceeded to quickly die once the frosts came in the late autumn. So no good, in my opinion, to try to grow them outside in this country, unless of course you could try them against a south-facing wall or fence or something like that if you wanted. But with a polytunnel, I certainly wouldn't bother. I'll just put them straight in the polytunnel or greenhouse. Make sure you've got your supports, string or beam poles, whatever you want to grow them up, trellis, anything along those lines. And if you can find a way of getting the seeds, give them a go. Check out the vegetable, go down the local Asian market or the Asian shop and look for bitter melons. Obviously every language has got their own term for this. Filipinos call them empalaya. I remember eating this when I was in the Philippines, in stir fries and that sort of thing. And do your research with regards to whether this food is suitable for you, and look at the benefits, the alleged benefits of this vegetable towards the treatment of diabetes. Water with tepid water, and keep the roots as warm as possible, and you should do well. Speak soon.